Well, first and foremost, I want to greet you to invite me to share with you this season. I'm professor in the School of Barcelona for, I don't know, some 27, 28 or 29 years. And now I'm the current responsible of the Erasmus program. And the first time I came here last year, I came here to try to build a bridge between our Mediterranean culture and you, the Czech country, Czech Republic. And when I arrived here, I was astonished because we share an incredible amount of ideas and attitudes towards, in general, urbanism, and in particular about patrimony. So, thanks to Jan and Irena, especially. Well, and unfortunately, in Spain, the question of protection of yes, the next is here. Yes, okay. The question of protection of patrimony often finishes in a catalog. We call catalog like a simple list of single pieces of architecture, sometimes urban tissues or sometimes walls around. But first idea is that we think that heritage must, first and foremost, be with the interpretation of an historic process. I mean that the building of the city never finishes. It's an open process without end. So we must look at the future, and so we should understand the identity elements as a spaces of opportunity to build the contemporary city. So the question is, what is the value of the historic elements in the regeneration of the cities? So I want to put on the table two ideas. The name is not by me. These two ideas are by Manuel de Sola Morales, the old professor of my department who died some 3 years ago. He called it translated into English is something like linked strategies. It is the history as it is in the history the opportunity of a new look for the relationship between city and patrimony. So the question is to introduce a new element that creates a contrast and a complementarity. And this is the project he proposed, the same Manuel Sola. Well, no, it's not. Pass. I will tell you to pass if you are so kind, please. Yes? This is a project by Manuel, the same Manuel, for the old port of Antwerpen in Belgium. He decided to, instead of renewing the port with a new line of skyscrapers, he put only 3 in strategic points of view that try to link the old and the new, in contrast with the old warehouse that had to be conserved and repaired. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Pass, please. The second project is this one. We did it many years ago, some 20 years ago, with the students of master degree in the Llobregat Valley near Barcelona. It was an industrial river. If I draw a longitudinal section of the river, this is the Mediterranean Sea, the river, and the mountains. And they built, in some parts of the river, channels. I am speaking about in 19th century. They built some channels and a dam. In this point, they settle an industry with a wheel to get power to move the textile industries. And then next one, and then next one, and next one. Then, so many of them. So of course the factories, the individual pieces of architecture were nice, of course, but the real value, the code, in this case, the interesting of the territorial code was this sequence of factories with channels and dams. So after understanding the DNA of the river, of this human river, we could link the landscape values of the valley with the factories. So the node values, the urban values, the natural values, and the cultural values. So at the end, we handed it to the authorities, to the regional authorities, and now it's a natural and cultural landscape that we could join the architecture, the values, the town planning values, the urbanist values, and the natural and landscape values. So, because the logic was that this distance had three logics. One was of course the slope of the river. The second one was the necessity of power. The longest line was more power, more height of the dam. And the third question was the distance to Barcelona. Pass, please. Another project. I have mixed several projects, and it's very quick, only 5. Only one image for every project. It's always the same. The idea of introducing a new use in the old. Here you have the project of Plaza Royal Square in Barcelona. It occupies the place of a former convent in the very center of the city. It's a question of strategy. In few words, it was a wall with a gate, only one gate, that exploded in the middle of 19th century and created a new square with many different corners full of activity. So this is an example how new can be introduced in the old. New is always the same. New uses linked to a new urban space and linked to a new architecture. In this case, the best shops of the city, of the new bourgeois, industrial bourgeois, Catalan bourgeois, here, the best shops with the best dwellings, the best flats of the city in an incredible space. It's like a football field. It's an incredible, almost 100 meters long, inside the old Gothic tissues, with a very intelligent strategy, like an octopusy, like an octopusy that tries to integrate new and old. Octopusy with many different legs that try to introduce in the old tissues. Yes, please. And exactly the same, but Enrique Miralles in 1999, it's exactly the same attitude, new in the old. It's another former convent, converted into a market in 1836 exactly. I know it was Miralles, who made the renewal some years ago. He introduced new uses, renewed the market, the modern market is here. He introduced a supermarket, restaurants, shops, and even dwelling for old people, handicapped people. But exactly the same new uses introduced in the old city and linked with newer spaces and new architecture. But the idea of time, of course, the city as a palimpsest is always present, please. The second attitude is what Manuel Sola Morales...
I have to stop you.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. We have two more speakers. Okay.
The last one. This is urban things. What Manuel called urban things. It is another version, a more artistic vision. It emphasizes the equal. It tries to interpret the urban issues and the consequences are rural. I'll show you the last image is this one. This is the image of Toledo. Toledo is an incredible medieval city, mixed of the born by the mix of the Christian, Muslim, and Jewish cultures. And I will show you only this image. We try usually to regulate the maximum length on the house of the plot of land. But this is logic in a Christian house, in the row houses, but not in the Muslim. In the Muslim patio house. So this project was made by John Busquets, and he decided to do a very simple thing. That is to try, he regulated this in this way, the Christian house in this way, but the Muslim house, he has tried, please go to the foundations of the house, look for the four corners, and you will find the regulation. Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you.